never thought a language class could feel like drowning. The professor was scribbling fast on the whiteboard, syllables spilling out of her mouth like a waterfall of nonsense. And all I could think was, why the hell did I sign up for this? The room smelled faintly of dry erase markers and cheap coffee, and I was ready to disappear into the floor when he walked in late sunlight, framing his hair like some cruel joke from the universe. His name was Jason, and in that instant, Spanish didn't matter anymore. My heart did something reckless, something stupid. He dropped into the seat beside me, a grin tugging at his mouth, and whispered, "Looks like we're already lost, huh?" His voice carried warmth and humor, the kind of tone that made you want to lean closer, even if you knew it was dangerous. I laughed too quickly, too nervously. "I don't even know how to say hello." Jason smirked, brushing his blonde hair back from his forehead. "It's hola," he said, like it was the easiest thing in the world. "You'll survive." But the truth was, I wasn't sure I would. Not because of Spanish, but because of him. The weeks blurred into late afternoons filled with conjugation drills I never mastered and accidental touches that lingered too long. Jason was everything I wasn't. Confident, funny, effortlessly liked by everyone. He leaned back in his chair with that careless ease, cracking jokes under his breath while the professor scolded him, and somehow, I couldn't stop watching. And he watched me back. At first, I thought I imagined the way his gaze held mine a second too long, the way his knee brushed against mine under the desk and didn't move away. But then came the library study sessions. "Let's work together," he had said one afternoon, dropping his backpack on the table with a thud. "You look like you're about to quit." I rolled my eyes. "I am about to quit. Then I guess it's my job to keep you here." The library was quiet except for the scratching of pens and the occasional cough, but between us, there was something Elsean energy, a pull. His arm brushed mine as he leaned closer to explain a verb tense, his breath warm against my skin. My brain barely registered the words. All I could hear was my heartbeat hammering in my ears. "See," Jason said, tapping the page. "Not so hard, right?" I looked at him, really looked at him, and for a terrifying second, I almost said, "The only hard thing is pretending I'm not falling for you." Instead, I muttered, "Yeah, not so hard." But falling for Jason was complicated. This was America, a small town that looked normal enough on the outside but chewed up anyone who didn't fit the mold. Boys like me didn't hold hands in the hallway. Boys like me didn't smile too much at other boys, unless they wanted rumors to start flying. And Jason, he was the last person anyone would expect. Quarterback of the football team, the kind of guy girls giggled about in the cafeteria. If he ever looked at me the way I wanted him to, it could ruin him, could ruin both of us. So I tried to bury it, to tell myself it was just friendship, to laugh at his jokes, nod at his stories, and ignore the ache in my chest every time he leaned close. But Jason didn't make it easy. One evening, as the library lights dimmed and the sky outside turned gold, he closed the textbook and looked at me. "You ever feel like you don't belong anywhere?" The question startled me. His usual grin was gone, replaced by something raw, something vulnerable. "Every day," I admitted before I could stop myself. Jason nodded slowly, his eyes darkening. "Yeah, same." And that was the moment I realized we weren't so different after all. The turning point came on a Friday night. The football team had just won a big game, and the school buzzed with celebration. But instead of going to the party, Jason found me sitting on the bleachers alone, shivering in the crisp autumn air. "You ditching the party too?" he asked, dropping down beside me. His breath curled in the cold night, and the floodlights cast long shadows across the field. "Parties aren't really my thing," I said. "Mine either," he admitted, surprising me. For a while, we just sat there in silence, the hum of distant laughter and music drifting across the night. Then, slowly, carefully, Jason reached out. His fingers brushed mine, tentative, uncertain. I froze. My throat tightened, but I didn't pull away. Jason's hand lingered, his thumb tracing the back of my knuckles. It wasn't a declaration, not yet. It was a question, and with every ounce of courage I had, I answered it. I laced my fingers through his. The world didn't end. No one saw us. But in that small moment, under the stadium lights, something inside me shifted. For the first time, I felt like I wasn't drowning. Jason turned his head, a soft smile tugging at his lips. "Hola," he whispered, like the word belonged just to us. And for the first time, Spanish made sense. Jason didn't let go of my hand that night. We walked off the bleachers like two people carrying a secret flame, fragile but bright. The cold air bit at our cheeks, but I didn't feel it. All I felt was his skin against mine, steady and grounding. But Monday came and reality crashed in. In the fluorescent-lit hallways of school, Jason was the golden boy again, slapping hands with teammates, flashing his easy grin, laughing like nothing in the world could touch him. And me? I was just the guy who sat in Spanish class struggling to conjugate verbs, trying to pretend I hadn't felt the whole universe shift under the Friday night sky. He didn't look at me the same way at school. He didn't brush my hand in the hallway. He didn't linger after class. It was like those moments never happened. And it broke something inside me. I tried to be rational. Maybe he was protecting me, protecting himself. Maybe I was asking for too much too soon. But then there were the stolen glances, the way his eyes found mine when no one else was looking. The way he sat too close during study sessions, his shoulder pressed against mine like he couldn't help it. It was a game of contradictions, and I was losing. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. I found him after practice, the smell of sweat and grass clinging to the cool night air. He was tossing his helmet into his locker when I blurted it out. "Do you regret it?" He froze, his back to me. "Regret what?" "Friday. The bleachers. Us." My voice cracked on the last word, but I couldn't stop. "Because if you do, just say it. Don't keep stringing me along." Jason turned slowly, his face unreadable. Then he stepped closer, so close I could feel the heat radiating off him. "I don't regret it," he said softly. "Not for a second." Then why? My throat tightened. "Why do you act like I don't exist at school?" Jason's jaw clenched. He looked away, fists curling at his sides. "Because you don't know what it's like. You don't know what they'd do if they found out." I flinched. He was right. I'd heard the jokes in the locker room, the slurs tossed around like weapons. I knew the cost, but knowing didn't make it hurt less. "I can't keep being your secret," I whispered. Silence stretched between us. Then, slowly, Jason reached out and cupped the side of my face. His thumb brushed my cheek, tender in a way that made my chest ache. "You're not a secret to me," he said. "You're the only thing that feels real." It should have been enough. For a while it was. We carved out a hidden world between the cracks of ordinary day-slate night drives where no one knew us, quiet study sessions where laughter softened the air, brief touches under the table that meant everything. In Spanish class, he'd whisper "te quiero" just low enough that only I could hear, and I'd pretend to care about vocabulary drills while my heart threatened to burst. But secrecy wears you down. It gnaws at you in the quiet moments, whispers that maybe you're not worth being claimed. And every time I watched Jason walk down the hallway with the weight of everyone's admiration on his shoulders, I wondered how long before he decided I was too heavy to carry. The breaking point came at a party. Jason had dragged me there, insisting it would be low-key. It wasn't. The music pulsed, the lights flashed, and red plastic cups littered the floor. I felt out of place the second I walked in, but Jason was at ease, surrounded by teammates and friends. And then a girl cheerleader, glossy hair, perfect smile wrapped her arms around him. He didn't push her away. He didn't even glance at me across the room. Something inside me snapped. I slipped out the back door, the cool night air burning my lungs. Minutes later, footsteps followed. Jason's voice, frantic. "Wait, please, wait." I spun on him, anger and hurt bubbling over. "Is this what I am to you? Someone you can hold in the dark but ignore in the light?" Jason's face crumpled. "It's not like that." "Then tell me what it's like." My voice broke. "Because I can't keep doing this. I can't keep pretending I don't care." He looked at me then, really looked, and for the first time I saw fear in his eyes. Not of Meph himself, of what it meant to choose me. "I'm scared," he admitted. His voice was raw, stripped of every mask he wore. I'm scared of losing everything. Football, friends, my family. His chest heaved. But the thought of losing you terrifies me more. My anger melted, replaced by something heavier understanding. I stepped closer, my voice trembling. Then stop running. Choose me, even if it's messy, even if it's hard. The silence that followed was suffocating. Then Jason reached for me, pulling me against him, his lips crashing into mine with all the desperation we'd been choking back for weeks. For the first time, there was no hiding, no fear, just us. Of course, it wasn't magically easy after that. There were whispers when Jason started walking me to class, when he stopped pretending not to know me in public. Friends fell away. Some teammates turned cold. But there were also moments of unexpected kindness, teachers who smiled knowingly, strangers who offered quiet support. And through it all, Jason never let go of my hand again. One afternoon, months later, we sat in the same classroom where it all began. The Spanish professor asked us to practice a simple phrase. Jason leaned toward me, grinning. Te quiero. I laughed, shaking my head. That's not what she asked us to say. Don't care, he said, squeezing my hand under the desk. It's the only Spanish I need. The class buzzed around us, the sun spilling through the tall windows, and for the first time, I didn't feel like I was drowning. I felt like I'd finally learned the most important lesson of all, that love, no matter how complicated, was worth the fight. And when Jason looked at me with that fearless, steady gaze, I knew I'd never regret saying yes to him, even in a world that told us no. Because sometimes the hardest language to learn isn't Spanish. It's love. And somehow, against all odds, we were fluent. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.